Okay, I'm live now. Let me go and check myself and see if I'm actually live right now. Let me do that. Now, let me see if I can hear myself before I get started with this video. Check myself and see if I'm actually live right now. Let me do that. Now, let me see if I can hear myself. All right. Okay, I missed it, man. I had a little incident that came up in the room in there. What I want to do, I want to name this video, what? Slave mentality. The mindset of a slave. That's simple. We all been saying that for years. The mindset of a slave. The mindset of a slave. Of a what? Of a black slave. Or the mindset of a slave. So, the mindset of a slave. The mindset of a slave. Now, y'all know that a lot of things were said. I'm just going to give you some introductory before I read this here. I'm going to be quoting from the book of Job, chapter 3, verses 1, 2, and 3. It's dealing with Israel being in captivity for 400 years. And it was prophesied that our people would go into slavery. Now, one of the things that I want to make mention before I go off into any of this here is that a lot of people will try to say blacks sold their own people, whites own slaves, all that stuff. They try to say that, right? But I'm going to prove to you from the Bible that it was blacks did not own slaves. The Africans owned slaves. Another thing, the African people are not our people. They are not our people. Because the Most High God made a difference between the Egyptian and the Israelites. Yes, he did. I'm trying to establish this foundation. Now, I need to go in Genesis chapter 15, and I think it's verses 13, I'm thinking. It ain't good to go on what you think. Genesis 15, Genesis 15 and 13. Let's go there. 14, 15. Genesis 15. I could be wrong. Okay, wait a minute. I was right. Genesis 15, verse 13. And he said unto Abram, then that his name was Abram before it became Abraham. Abraham is the forefathers of the Israelites, the Hebrew Israelite. Y'all know that the Hebrew Israelites came out of Abraham. Abraham had Isaac, and Isaac had Jacob, and that's where the 12 patriarchs came out of Jacob. So these are our forefathers: Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So I might have to just cover a lot of stuff. You see what I'm saying? I might have to just cover a lot of things. And I'm gonna try to get into going and looking up different and see exactly the history of different parts of the country and things of that nature. So right now, I'm just gonna establish this. Genesis 15 and 13. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed, talking about the seed of the Hebrew Israelite, the seed, surely that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. Are we in a strange land that is not ours? This land belongs to the native Indians over here. And if you don't accept what I'm saying, you don't have to. You do your own research. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Who is they will afflict them 400 years? Let's establish who are that nation. They. It said they. So we need to establish who those people are that will afflict Israel for 400 years. Genesis chapter 3 and verse 7. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians. Out of those nations, out of the hand of the Egyptians, it just told you. They shall afflict them. Who is they? What I just read. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters. For I know their sorrows, and I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians. Who? Out of the hands of the Egyptians. So that's who that nation were. So God was going to come down and deliver our people out of the hands of the Egyptians. Now you go further. You look up Ham and Cush. That the Egyptians are the people of the dark race, not the Negroes. The Negroes is of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we're not, well, we're not black. We are a people of color. So Negroes stand for the people of color. But the dark race refers to the Africans and the Ethiopians and all those other races like Cush and Ham and Cush. You see what I'm saying? So God took and cursed Canaan. So that was the dark race. So the Egyptians are the African race. Egypt is on the west coast of Africa, right? And so the Egyptians were the ones that enslaved the Israelites. So would it be safe to say that they were the enemy to the Israelites? Because remember, the Most High said in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 68, and ye shall be sold unto your enemies. So we were sold to our enemies. Now let's go back and let's establish something in Joel chapter 3 and verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah in Jerusalem. So why did Israel go into captivity in the first place? Y'all want to establish that? Let's establish why Israel went into captivity. Let's establish that. We want to know why. Because that would be the next question that our people would ask. Why did they go into captivity? Why did they go into captivity? Let's look at Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto, but it shall come to pass that if thou wilt not hearken, that means hearken means to listen, unto the voice of the Lord thy God. What is the voice of God? The Bible, the words of God. And to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I commanded thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So that's what happened. Deuteronomy 28 and verses let's try verse 36. And the Lord shall bring thee unto thy, and the Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have not known, and there thou shalt serve other gods. And thou shalt become a astonishment and a proverb and a byword. What is a byword? Nigger, coon, all those are proverbs, those are bywords because we didn't listen to God. And amongst all nations, whether the Lord shall lead thee. Okay, now let's look right here. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, until thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, because thou servest not the Lord thy God, with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies. See that? We had to serve our enemies in captivity for 400 some plus years. And who are the enemies that I identified in Exodus chapter 7 and Exodus chapter 7? Who's the enemies that I identified? Who are the enemies? Let's look and see who the enemies are that I identified. Exodus chapter 3, verse 7. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrow. I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, to bring them out of the land unto a good land. See that? All right. It says in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48, therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, and in hunger and in thirst and all that kind of stuff. You read the rest of it, you will see we had to depend upon the white man, and we had to depend upon our enemies, the Chinese people, just to give us bread and water and all that kind of stuff. So let's go back to Joel. It says, Joel chapter 3, verse 1, for behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, and I will also gather all nations, and I will bring thee down unto the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people, and will plead with them there for my people. Who is my people? What I just read in Exodus chapter 3 and verse 7 and 8, where it says, and God came down to deliver his people out of the hand of the Egyptians, out of those mighty nations. The Egyptians were those that God said he sent to Moses, to Pharaoh, right, to plead with his people. He told Moses, go plead with Pharaoh is to let his people go. But Pharaoh hardened his heart, right? So that's what it was. He said, I will bring them down unto the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my inheritance, Israel. For my inheritance, Israel. Israel is the inheritance. The Israelites are the inheritance. The God is the inheritance of Israel. The inheritance of Israel is the Holy Land, the motherland, Jerusalem, according to Galatians chapter 4 and verse 26 says, but Jerusalem, which is the motherland, which is the mother of us all, is above, is free, which is the mother of us all, whom they have scattered amongst the nations and parted my land. I will also gather all nations, and I will bring them down unto the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my inheritance, Israel, whom they have scattered amongst the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. See, they gave a boy for an harlot. This is how our people started mixing. The indigenous Indians started mixing with white folks. That's why we having light babies and lighter babies, because we was taught that the Caucasian, the European race was above every race, and they put it in us, and they interbreeded with us and had children. And so this is where the rape, robbery, and murder coming from. And this is how they spread their evil seed amongst the godly seed. And that's why the Bible says in Hosea, let's go to Hosea right quick. Hosea, let's go to Hosea right quick. Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea chapter 7 and verse 8. Ephraim has mixed himself amongst the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Strangers have devoured his strength, and he knows it not. Yea, gray hairs are theirs. Okay, it says verse 7, Hosea chapter 7 and verse 8. Ephraim has mixed himself amongst the people. See, that's what happened amongst the people. See, this is what happened when they went and our people started adopting and started getting these women from other cultures and stuff. And the Bible clearly tells you in Deuteronomy chapter 7, verses 1, 2, and 3, do not take your sons and your daughters unto and mingle with the Canaanites. The Canaanites are the African tribe. The Canaanites and the European tribe. He said, don't take the daughters of Esau. Do not do that. There's a scripture somewhere in this Bible. I'm going to look it up and I'm going to find it. You see what I'm saying? He said, do not mess with the Hamite, the Edomite daughters. Do not mess with the daughters of Esau. Esau went and took the daughter Bashemath, and Esau's wife. He had all those women, and he went in unto other nations. He started mixing his seed amongst all the other people and stuff. And the Bible clearly tells us, do not marry white women, do not mess with them women. I look on YouTube and I look at it and I see this is very disturbing to me when I see a black man with these white women and when I see a black woman with a white man. That disturbs me when I see that. You see what I'm saying? Because we have been whitewashed with all this, we have been washed with Christianity that told us, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You love who you love. It's not about color. It's about love. It's about who you fall in love with. Bull, because the Bible says don't do that. You see what I'm saying? So it says, and they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for an harlot. That means they sold our sons and made out the men was getting raped too as well. Is what I'm saying. The men of color, the Negro men was getting raped, and then they would take the white women and these Caucasian women, and they would take women from from the German, the Italians, and all these people, and they would come over and mix their seed, and they would have babies, but by the Hebrew people. You see what I'm saying? And this is how we got a mixed seed and a mingled seed or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because the boys was raped as well. A lot of people thinking that it was just when they think of rape, they think of women. But it was not only the women's being raped, it was the men. They had their progenitors taken as well by these other race of women and things. And not only by the white men, I mean, by the white men, but by the white women too, because this is the reason why you see more of the pedophilia in the white culture, in the European culture, because that's their customs. They sleep with dogs and they do all that kind of stuff. But a lot of people don't want to call it out. But I am one that calls it out. And a lot of our people of color, when they look at this video and see me speaking on a topic like this, I know this is not going to sit well with our people. There's another video. It was did back in 2017. That's 18, 19. It was 2 years ago. There was this black woman. She was on a dating site, but they set this black woman up. Even though, like, you look at them and say, oh, you've been, you know what I mean? I'm not going to get into all of the details about that situation, but this black man took and set this black woman up. And me looking at that video, I couldn't even stomach looking at that video, looking at this man. And it described exactly what Malcolm X was saying about our people of color, how they turn around. He said that the house Negro looked out for his master. And if the master's house caught a fire, the slave owner, which is the white, so-called white man, the slave owner, was the master, and the slave worked harder to put that fire out more than the master did himself. The slave man, the black man worked harder as an Uncle Tom or a slave to put the fire out, and worked harder than the master did to put the fire out of his own house. You see what I'm saying? The slave worked harder to put the fire out than the master did. You see what I'm saying? But the field Negro prayed that the master's house burnt down. Yeah, they prayed that the house burnt down. But let me read this again. Joel chapter 3 and verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people. Who is my people? Israel. Who were the people that was raped and robbed and took and had their innocence taken by these Europeans. And they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for an harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Now, let me read that one more time, and then I'm going to go and get you the context of who my people is. My people is again. And they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for an harlot They gave a boy for an harlot. That means they whored out the boy. They whored out the black men and made them mix their seed with these other race of women, like these European women and them other race of women, Italian and German and Irish women and all those people. They have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for an harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. This is what they did. When we were sold to our enemy, the Africans sold us to our enemy. Who is our enemy? The so-called white man is our enemy. That's the number one enemy. The number one, the other enemies too is the Arabs. The Arabs is the one that enslaved the Mexicans first, the Mexican people. All of those people, the Puerto Rican people was enslaved. You know what Puerto Rican means? Rich or poor. So it says, all right, let me go get the context of they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for an harlot and sold a girl for wine. Let me go and get the context of that right quick. Let me go back over here and I'm gonna give y'all the context to this, to the ones who they gave for an harlot and sold a girl for wine and gave a boy for an harlot. Let's look at Exodus. excuse me. Let's look and see who they have cast lots for my people. All right, let's look right here. It says, and the Lord said in Exodus chapter 3 and verse 7, and the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrow. And verse 8, and I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, to bring them out of that land unto a good land, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now, therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, and I have seen the oppression wherein the Egyptians oppressed them. And come now, verse 10, and come now, therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, and that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. See that? My people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. So that's who he was talking about. Joel chapter 3 and verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. They have cast lots for my people. So my people are the Israelites. These were the people that were sold to the enemy, is what I'm trying to tell you. Those are the people that were sold to the enemy. So I'm going to stop it right here. I'm not going to hold it out too long because I don't want to make the video that long. I might have to just take time and do it. If y'all need any more information on what I'm saying, put it in the comment section. Whatever your question is, put it in the comment section and I will show it to you based upon the Bible. All right. Peace and love to my people of color, and I'm out.